Hello, keychain knife fans. I have a bunch of keychain knives. I don't actually put them on my keychain. I just like to, have different a variety of cutting tools for cutting open my boxes. And I just like little gadgets. I don't know why that is, but I do. So I got this off Aliexpress, and now I have affiliation, so I'm going to find you a link for this if you don't feel like finding this. But honestly, if you can find it cheaper anywhere else, Amazon, AliExpress, never mind, it is from AliExpress, eBay or whatnot, yeah, get it wherever you can, don't feel like you have to support me. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to make any money with this affiliation stuff. Alright, so let's see here. It comes with these extra X-Acto, I think they're called X11 blades. I'm trying to figure out how many are in there. Probably 5. Yeah, it looks like we have 5 extra blades, so that's nice. You can actually resharpen X-Acto knife blades if you can run them down like a ceramic sharpener. Alright, so maybe this will actually matter to you, the weight of this. If you start putting a bunch of stuff on your keychain. Oddly, there's no key ring. This thing didn't come with a key ring, so that's interesting. So this thing weighs 12.3 grams, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's titanium, so it's a lot heavier than aluminum, and obviously it's a lot heavier than plastic. But titanium never rusts. It's an almost indestructible material. It's really hard to machine. So, dimensionally, when it's closed, it's roughly 55 millimeters, a little over 2 inches, and its maximum length. Maximum width might be around 16 millimeters. Maximum thickness with the handle is like 9.5. Without the handle, maybe these bolt heads, like 5.2. Alright, so the way this operates is you have this screw. I have a similar one I'll bring out, and this may or may not be good as an actual keychain thing from my experience. So that screw you loosen, and you'll see there's 3 detents there. So when this pushes out, when I push down on it, it's pushing that out of that recess, and so then it can slide, and then it'll pop back. There's a little spring inside of here, and so it should click into this. Actually, there's a resistance. There we go. So now it's in setting number 2. If I push again, now it's fully extended, and then you can actually screw it down, and it's totally locked in place. So if you want to cut really hard objects, like say wood or something like that, you don't want the blade to move around. Being an X11 blade, obviously, it's very sharp. Cutting a chopstick there. Here's a plastic fork. Yeah, that works fine. Just a piece of paper. Right, of course, it's a sharp blade. And the beauty of the replaceability of it, if you don't want to sharpen these things, X11 blades are generally cheap if you buy them in bulk. Alright, so it functions as it should. Just unscrew that again, push that in, or hold it, push it down, and then you can slide this thing back with your thumb. This is a very strong spring. I think this might be an advancement over the previous design. So let me continue on with before I talk about the criticizing this. This, I believe, can fit a standard 2x5 tritium vial. This one, I don't know if anything's going to fit in that. That's a very short vial slot, but we'll see later. And then we have a Torx headed stainless bolts holding this together, and then the backside has that one tritium, useful tritium, and maybe questionable usefulness on that one. This says Rihei design. The AliExpress listing mentioned no branding whatsoever. I'll have to do a search and see if that actually leads to anywhere. This also says Pioneer EDC. So if you're looking for small little knives and stuff like that, I always search for EDC knife. And very often, they're very small knives that come up in search results because it's meant for everyday carry. And people don't want to be walking around with like 6-inch bladed knives. Frankly, it's illegal in many countries to do so anyways. Alright, well anyways, it feels nice. Maybe this might take some polishing, the sliding action here. the initial action seemed a little rough, but I think I'm just not used to this spring. Let me cut down into some cardboard. Or actually, here's some foam to cut. So this is the full, well, this is also important to know, isn't it? The full depth that you can make a cut with this knife is like 12.4 millimeters. So that's as deep as you're going to go. So if you're going to be cutting foam like this, I don't know if I'm going to get through this whole thing. No, I am not. Alright, so we know that. Obviously it's going to cut through tape, no problem, but here's a relatively thick piece of cardboard. So the feel of it is okay. I'm trying to gauge the ergonomics and the, how comfortable it is. I mean, it's not the best knife to hold, but you don't want to be cutting boxes as a job using this. Let's say that. But for every now and then use, random cutting, I think it's good to have. Seems pretty good, and it can definitely fit on a keychain, not an issue. All right, so now talk about the possible critiquing of this, and the reason why is because I have these other ones. So these I don't think you can buy anymore on Aliexpress. They're a few years old now. So this is a titanium one here, and it has the same type of thinking of design. This I replaced. This is a different bolt, but see, you have to unscrew it, and somehow somewhere along the way I think I lost the screw. Either I lost the screw or the screw just, not the screw, I lost the spring inside. There's no springiness here. I can't remember if it was by design or not. It works without it. It's just that I guess to pop back into that recess, it's not as easy. So I have to just tighten it. So that's one issue right there. The second issue is this thread was so loose. I felt like I was gonna possibly lose. This is trapped in this slot, this side. I felt this would maybe possibly fall out. So I put a tiny bit of loose thread lock, like purple thread lock, low strength thread lock in there. And then I don't think it's gonna fall out now. But that's why I think this should be a spring, because that spring is constantly pushing against this, and that tension or whatnot is going to keep that thing from falling apart. It's going to keep this from just popping loose. Let me just open this. Maybe I can. You know what? Oh, there it is. Hold on. There's some sort of resistance. See that? If you lose that spring, I feel like this will just unthread itself, and then you might lose it. You'll see, I think there's literally only one thread, or 1.5 threads, keeping this thing in that hole. So that might be why this spring feels so tough now. It's always pushing against, so it won't want to undo itself, right? That's what I theorize. Okay, so this one I do have a tritium vial in, and you can definitely put in that size there. Is this one? I don't know if they make tritium vials that narrow. Right, so that's an issue. This is also a titanium one, but if for some reason they start selling this again, I wouldn't use this. I literally had this in my pocket once, and there's no mechanical lock. There's a magnet there. So that magnet is the only thing that's keeping this X-Acto blade from just slipping loose. But it did open like this in my pocket, and it kind of jabbed me in the leg. I didn't bleed or anything like that, but it's just not a sure design. And also, without any sort of stop mechanically, if you push down on something, look, right? So essentially you have to constantly hold it with your thumb to cut, and that's going to get tiring, I think. So if you find these types of knives that have a magnetic lock, I would advise against it. So I ended up just blowtorching this to make it this purple color. It was just standard titanium color, because I generally just don't use this anymore. So this aluminum one is still fine. This is very lightweight, being aluminum, and you'll notice this doesn't have any actual detents I don't, except maybe at the end, but I don't see many in the middle. But I guess it still works because you just push it down and you can tighten it if you want. Or can you? I might be mistaken. No, you cannot. I've used this many times on videos, on my unboxing of model cars. It hasn't been an issue. But I think, again, if you don't hold that thing, see, it's not physically locked in the slot. So I feel this is an inferior design. But I guess if you're just cutting tape or thin paper, it could be okay. It's also not as ergonomic, just being a rectangle, right? But here, your thumb is going to keep that blade from pushing back. But I think all in all, this so far is probably the best design. This was also a good design until I either lost that spring or it got the spring may have gotten tired inside of there. This is actually shorter, so this actually probably was a better design. It's just I don't see it on Aliexpress anymore. Okay, well, anyways, the replaceable number 11 blades are great because they're cheap, and if you're pressed on time, you'll have to sit there and sharpen these things. So I think this one's pretty good. I guess we'll see you in the next gadget reviews. I'll leave you a little link if you can't find this cheaper. Bye.